Hello, friends. 803 war days between Russia and Ukraine. Lot many things are happening and lot many things are not happening. Well, let us start from the southern war zone in Kherson front. As far as Krinky bridgehead is concerned, last 2 days Ukrainians are able to not only maintain their bridgehead but also have expanded it in the western direction. Russians are using very heavily FAV 250 and 500 kgs glide bombs, which is also incorporated with UMPK for guidance purpose, which is very lethal because it's very accurate and thus preventing Ukrainians for further advancing and moving eastward. Nonetheless, Russians are not able to eliminate these bridgeheads, including Antonovsky. So, by and large, status quo exists. As far as Zaporizhia front is concerned, Rabotino and Verbov, no changes. Rimivki salient towards Staromayorsky and Eurozane, again, no changes. Coming to east, Marinka direction. Towards Konstantinovka, no changes. However, Russians advanced towards Paraskoviyivka, and very soon the fight will be for this village. Nonetheless, Russians seems to be aiming for Konstantinivka, which is a supply hub line for this war zone as far as Ukrainians are concerned. Pobeda, no changes. West of Marinka, which is Georgievka, and north, that is Krasnogorovka, where Russians hold now 20% in each villages. Heavy fight is on. Coming to Avdiivka, Nevelsky, no changes. West of Avdiivka, Netaylovo, Russians advance almost 200 meters. Orlovka sector, Umansky, Russians have again started advancing. However, no changes towards Semyonovka, where they hold almost 75%. Due cloud of war, the full information is not available. Novosilovka, Russians have made some gains. Now coming to north of Avdiivka. Here lots of changes are taking place. Russians have been advancing towards Novopokrovskoye from Berdichi direction. Sokel, however, no changes. Novo Oleksandrivka, Russians advanced almost 100 meters plus, while Ocheretyne they have captured fully and further advanced north of it. This is a good gains for the Russians. Arkhanskeloye, Russians have taken over this place as well. This is another huge gains for the Russians as Ukrainians are forced to retreat from these places. Bakhmut southern flank. Kyslivka, no changes. In west of Bakhmut towards Krasnoye, where Russians are holding 95% of the village, minor changes in favor of the Russians. As far as Chasiv Yar is concerned, the battle is very fierce and the advance of Russians are by and large stopped. Nonetheless, from the northern side, Russians are inching forward. It will take many weeks before they actually penetrate inside Chasiv Yar and have some meaningful gains. North of Soledar Sivesk region, no changes. Coming to north now, Liman Kremina direction, Yampulovka and Terny, fight continues, but there is a stagnation, and so is towards Makiivka. Kupian Swato direction, Russians have captured Kotyarovka, and now they are in process of consolidating here. They have also advanced from here towards Stelmakhivka. Kyslivka, it seems Ukrainians have finally decided to withdraw. However, the area which from where they have withdrawn is gray zone, Russians haven't advanced much. This is by and large situation of the war zone. As far as interdiction missions are continuing, the Ukrainians are continuing their operations using long range missiles, ATCMs, as well as drones in most of the adjacent Russian regions. Russians have been using their UAVs, glide bombs, as well as missiles, though the uses of missiles have reduced recently. They struck Ukrainian targets in Kharkiv, Nikolaev, Dnipro, and Sumy directions. Here it must be noted that the mercenaries coming from outside are swelling, and that includes even French. It is learned that 100 plus have already come in, and they aim to bring close to 1,000 troops, not only for training the Ukrainians in rear but also on the front lines. And when they are in the front lines, it will not be merely to use their advanced weapon system, train Ukrainians, but also will be part of the fight. They are ready to sacrifice their troops, but they want to obey the Pentagon's order that Russians' advance must be stopped at any cost. Coming to Palestine, Israel, Middle East, situation has escalated in southern Gaza. Palestinians carried out rocket attack on IDF positions, destroying many of IDF troops. Central Gaza, no significant changes. However, in southern side, there seems to be increase in counter shelling and raids. West Bank, more raids by the Israeli security forces. There seems to be increase in UAV attacks on Israelis' ports, which includes Haifa and Eilat, from Iraq, which is normal, but even from Bahrain, there seems to be a new resistance forces. Well, we'll have to see how it is unfolding, because arms and ammunitions, despite America's threat and pressure on Israel, is reaching Israel, and so is to the Ukraine. In this regard, it must be noted, as per the information, that Turkey's economic relation with Israel has been terminated. Nonetheless, fuel and other raw materials are coming to Israel from Azerbaijan through Turkey's port. Well, it can be said that it is international law. How international law is being maintained is not known in most of the cases. Civil war in Myanmar is escalating, adjacent or neighbor of India, in the neighborhood of India. There is information that many countries are withdrawing their gold reserves from the USA, and they are Egypt, even Egypt, yes, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, these, except South Africa, these are pro-American entities. Cameroon, Senegal, Algeria, Saudi Arabia. What is this indicating? I leave it to you, but I would like to add one thing, that US hegemony, despite all its effort, and more it is jumping, it must be understood, more deep or deeper it is getting inside its own destruction. Look at the students' movement. After the Black Lives Matters, this is the second biggest movement that is sweeping across USA. Do not go on the number of people. Yes, there could be less, but it is rising. What happened in UK, the election? I don't say the Labour Party is a revolutionary party by any chance, but then people want alternative. They want change. In India, we are moving towards that side. In this forthcoming general election, 2 phases have already been done. 5 phases more to go. And these changes, whether it's right or left, is visible globally. People want change. We want change. However, our role is that these changes must be in the direction where from where we do not return back here. First World War, Second World War, many revolutions, successful, failure then after, or coup d'etat, destroyed. So that in individual countries and finally globally, we must get away with imperialism, must get away with the form of capitalism, be it monopoly capitalism, fascism, neo-Nazism, or whatever. We do not want them. Enough is enough. Our climate is getting destroyed, even if we do not have Third World War, where we use nuclear bombs against each other. But climate is destroying. The point is coming, turning point is coming, where we will not be able to control it. Let us have our brains useful, which is developed over millions of years. And we have come up to here. Thank you, friends.